Stretching from New York City to Chicago and many major mob-connected cities in between, every gangster and racketeer wanted a piece of the lucrative Las Vegas action. However, only certain men had the privilege of indulging in the profits that rolled into the city. Connected men, such as Tony Accardo, boss of the Chicago outfit, Mo Dalitz out of Cleveland, and Meyer Lansky representing the New York Mafia. Organized crime in this country seemed to be at an all-time high. In the mid-1970s, though, that would all change. A series of events would take place directly affecting gambling and the movement of organized crime in this country, resulting in the Chicago outfit's dominance over Las Vegas and the New York Mafia's exit.
In the past year, important changes have taken place on this street. A crime empire that ruled here for almost half a century has been decimated by murders and convictions in court. Now this boulevard looms as a lucrative open territory in the mind's eye of ambitious mafia families all across the country.
So what happened? Did the outfit muscle the New York boys out of Las Vegas? Or did they pack up and leave on their own? Let's find out. I'm your host, Tony Handsome, and this is Corruption Connection. In the 1970s, every major mobster in the country had a piece of the lucrative Las Vegas gambling market. Names synonymous with organized crime circles, such as Tony Accardo out of Chicago, Mo Dalitz out of Cleveland, Raymond Patriarca out of New England, Frank Ballesteri out of Milwaukee, Nick Savella out of Kansas City, and Meyer Lansky out of New York. Each of these mob bosses had a significant hidden interest in several Las Vegas casinos at the time. By way of their emissaries on the ground, working in the casinos, the mob was able to funnel away millions of dollars in illegal gambling proceeds in a practice that became known as the skim. The skim was purported to have taken place in every mob-controlled casino in Las Vegas at the time. The breakdown of which mob family controlled which casino was practically impossible, as their interests were interlocked in each other's hotels, and nobody could really tell who owned what, where.
Mobs were contending with a new official awareness in Nevada that organized crime had become entrenched along the Strip. The earlier publication of the expose, Greenfeld Jungle, pointing to Meyer Lansky's hidden role at the Thunderbird, had created a national public relations dilemma for state gaming control officials.
Despite several interests from different mob families across the country, the two frontrunners to inherit the vast profits Las Vegas had to offer were the New York Mafia, backed by Meyer Lansky, and the powerful Chicago outfit. However, an event would take place in 1976, changing the landscape of Las Vegas casino ownership in the years to come.
Organized crime is not welcome in Atlantic City, and I warn them again, keep your filthy hands out of Atlantic City, keep the hell out of our state.
In 1976, Atlantic City's governor, Brendan Byrne, signed into law a bill permitting casino gambling. This blew the doors to the city wide open, and organized crime was right there waiting. According to an independent investigation by the New Jersey State Commission of Investigations, it was stated that a classic pattern of organized crime infiltration of legitimate business in Atlantic City has begun. This statement came with a bit of skepticism, as the mob was already deeply entrenched in Atlantic City and its surrounding areas. A fact reiterated by former Philadelphia Atlantic City crime boss, Little Nicky Scarfo, who at the time was a soldier in the Angelo Bruno crime family assigned to the seaside town. While watching Byrne speak live alongside his nephew Crazy Phil Leonetti, just a few blocks away, Scarfo would state, "Doesn't he know we're already here?" The mob was in fact not only present in Atlantic City at the time, they ran it. The millions that were expected to pour into the city would certainly grant a new lease on life to the dying seaside town, and would attract organized crime figures from all over the country. Although falling under the control of the Philadelphia crime family, led at the time by the docile Don, Angelo Bruno, Atlantic City was too lucrative for Bruno and his family to control alone, and he knew it. In a diplomatic move to maintain control over his empire and avoid bloodshed, Bruno aligned himself with the New York families and agreed to share the Atlantic City profits with them. Although everything seemed to be on the up and up for the East Coast bigwigs in the Mafia, what about the Midwest bosses? What would they have to say in regards to New York and Philly's newfound venture into the casino business? Surely the most powerful syndicate in the Midwest, the Chicago outfit, would have an opinion on such matters, as another set of hotels and casinos built across the country from their crown jewel Las Vegas would certainly draw gamblers away and essentially affect their bottom line, a clear road to bloodshed. So how did the East Coast and Midwest mob bosses avoid an all-out war over the potential gambling profits of Atlantic City? Enter Tony Accardo. Anthony Joseph Accardo, aka Joe Batters, or Big Tuna, was a Chicago outfit mobster whose career in the mob dated back to Al Capone and spanned over 8 decades. As the outfit's undisputed leader at the time, Accardo proposed a solution which would shape the mob's involvement in both Atlantic City and Las Vegas.
Stage for the National Organized Crime Treaty of 1977, a treaty that guaranteed the Chicago mob of its preeminence in Las Vegas.
According to law enforcement sources, the National Organized Crime Treaty of 1977 established a new set of parameters directly affecting the movement of organized crime in this country. Accardo would go to the New York mob with a deal. They could have Atlantic City, Chicago would stay out. If in return, Chicago would be given preferential rights to Las Vegas. They agreed. And in 1977, the deal would effectively end the presence behind the scenes of Meyer Lansky and the New York mob.
Effectively ended the presence behind the scenes of Meyer Lansky and his New York Miami associates.
With the absence of Meyer Lansky and other East Coast mobsters, the Chicago outfit's authority over Las Vegas would reach new heights, as their control over skimming at the Stardust was said to generate over $15 million in 1977 alone. Both New York and Chicago would benefit from the arranged deal in the years to come. However, in the 1980s, due to increased pressure from law enforcement and the RICO Act, the mob's presence and power in both Atlantic City and Las Vegas began to wane.
Faced with the prospect of greater state attention to gaming control, Eastern mobs began taking their profits and withdrawing from Las Vegas. The Desert Inn, Sands, and Frontier were all sold to industrialist Howard Hughes.
And casinos once firmly under their control were now sold off to public corporations. So what's your opinion? Did Lansky and the New York mob make the right decision in accepting Accardo's terms, keeping Chicago away from Atlantic City? Or was the withdrawal from Las Vegas a mistake? Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. As always, I'm your host, Tony Handsome, and this is Corruption Connection. Hey everyone, if you enjoyed this video, please press the like button below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.